Tim. So we started this morning with some crop rotations and talked about soils a little bit. Now I'm going to talk about preserving the forages after you've harvested them, and that's it's a topic that can be overlooked at times, but it's definitely something we need to take a look at as innovative farmers, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it here. So, two categories for preserving your forages. I'm going to present this from the angle of how Kings can help you with this, what our value add is on this. AgMaster crop-specific inoculants for corn silage, haylage, baleage, high moisture corn, and then Colback dry hay preservative for your alfalfas and grasses there. So, start with the AgMaster inoculants. Forage inoculants, they're more than just foo-foo dust is what I've titled this slide, and I've heard that term a lot around this area. There are a lot of products on the market. There are a lot of good products on the market, a lot of things that really work. And what we're looking for when we're adding an inoculant, we're trying to inoculate, to add a measure of bacteria into our forage so that we can convert the sugars, the natural sugars, to organic acid. That's going to drive the pH down, prevent respiration and protein breakdown, and ultimately increase the preservation of the nutrients so that you can produce more milk or meat there. So, without, let's look at the mindset here. Can be my silage is good; it produces milk or meat. I don't necessarily have to use a forage preservative. And to a degree that can be true. There's a measure of naturally occurring bacteria that can be relied upon to decrease that pH and help stabilize that forage during the ensiling process. Unfortunately, at times those natural bacteria can be inconsistent. They can produce the wrong sorts of acids, and they can also be unevenly dispersed depending on some different factors, how the crop's harvested and stored and different things. So what we're doing is we're taking the opportunity to improve our forage that's good. So you say, I'm putting it up, it's good, I'm not adding an inoculant. Well, I challenge you to explore what you can do by adding that bacteria in and helping to stabilize that forage over time. Like I said, make good silage better, and then those marginal improvements a lot of times can mean the difference in profitability and not being profitable there. So any inoculant that you use, anytime you're using a product that helps preserve your forages, that's not an excuse for lack of proper management here. Other factors we need to look at: moisture levels, wide swathing, making sure that we lay that crop wide so that the respiration is slowed a lot faster. Chopping length, adequate packing, bunker, silo, however you're storing that, airtight covers, and then proper feed out rate, making sure you match your feed out rate with how you've harvested, and your ag bag or whatever it is that you have, make sure you're matching that. So I'm going to talk specifically about these AgMaster inoculants and what they do that may be sort of different than the industry. They're crop-specific inoculants, and what that means, and what we're trying to do with these specific products is these different forages that we're harvesting in the high moisture corn there. They have different. They consist of different things. Alfalfa grasses, high protein, low carb, high buffering capacity. The components of those make it difficult to decrease the pH rapidly, so we need a bacteria strain specifically designed for that can help with that. Corn silage, its makeup makes it a little easier to decrease the pH more rapidly. So there's different strains there, and then for the high moisture corn is the same as the alfalfa grasses. Not the makeup, but the bacteria strains that are used to help stabilize the forage. So, and then the one thing to consider is the number of CFUs, colony forming units, per gram of silage. It's pretty high in these inoculants specifically. So this is what we're looking for immediately when we harvest the forage. We're looking for that rapid drop in pH, and And this was a test that was Kansas State test, and AgMaster, you can see there, these follow this is the AgMaster. The trend here is the rapid drop in pH, and then the untreated, some of them a little higher actually, they increase and then fall down. So we're looking for this type trend line here. We want that pH to drop rapidly and go ahead and start stabilizing the forage now. Now here we have after the silage is exposed to air, and this is specifically corn silage, but this is measuring yeast and then days time. So here you have the yeast starts out after that's exposed, after the forage is exposed to air, the yeast increases here slightly, and then it sort of levels off, and that's really what we're looking for. Specifically when we're using like an LB, a Buchneri, a Lactobacillus buchneri product, we're looking for that acetic acid to help stabilize that forage as we're feeding out there. So, and this goes back to this graph. This is what we can expect from those lower yeast counts. Less heating, the dry matter retention, more energy available, dry matter intake increase, and then of course producing more milk or meat. So this is what I was talking about earlier. The AgMaster LB would be considered a more premium inoculant. Couple of reasons. One, we're introducing more CFUs, more colony forming units there, twice the amount, over twice the amount, and maybe higher than the regular. Acetic acid production is real important for stabilization over time after you start feeding that forage out. And it focuses on the aerobic stability there. And bunk heating is something that, again, that's the stabilization over time. One use of this that we've seen is baleage, feeding large round bales in a feeder. It takes 3 or 4 days maybe for a group of heifers or cows to consume that. You can keep that temperature level down so that feed continues to be palatable there, and you're not losing the nutrients into the environment essentially. So this is an analysis of what the LB can do there. And this, again, this is time, this is hours, hours to spoilage here. Same on the bottom. This is corn silage and high moisture corn. And you can see the difference there. This is a competitor, another LB inoculant, still pretty good there. That's a lot better than what we're seeing here. So again, that goes back to the importance of and the value that these inoculants can have there. And that's a pretty good difference there. And this is where it really matters when we start talking about the dollar figures, the amount of money that we get in return for our investment here. So this sort of breaks it out. Dry matter, we're saying that dry matter savings will be 5% or 100 pounds per ton of forage. Total corn silage and siled on a 100 head dairy farm, 1,500 tons. Tons saved using an inoculant, 75 tons. That's at that 5%. So total amount for treating with an inoculant, $2,250 there. To break even, this is what we would have to save to break even at these prices. And yesterday, I heard $100 a ton. I don't know. These may be a little low. I'm not sure for this area. But you can understand, you know, of course, as the price goes up, we have to save less forage to make this, to break even there. So yeah, and you can see the return on investment there with the inoculants. Coming at it from a different angle, and this is the same basic breakup here, the 5% on the 1,500 tons. We can save up to 27 days of extra silage, and that's on a 100 cow dairy as well. So that could be important when you're looking at the end of that year, when you're running out and you're starting to get close. That 27 days can make a big difference because you're going to have to supplement by purchasing forage if you don't have that, or grain. So again, another way to look at it. This is taking it from the angle of milk production. Now this was also a test conducted at Kansas State, and these were the results. They analyzed, you know, cow beside cow, came up 63.8 versus 61.6 pounds of milk production per day. Comes out to a value on a 50 cow dairy of almost $20 a day. Could be considerable when you factor in all the inputs and make sure that that's a good return for you. So, changing gears here, this is one way that this product's offered that makes it a little more convenient. I like to say this because the others are in liquid form, so you dilute them in water and apply them. So this is a more convenient way. It's less crop specific though, so I always like to mention that. Major considerations here: number of acid producing bacteria, those colony forming units, making sure that the inoculant, the program that you're on to salvage that forage is introducing enough bacteria and evenly dispersing them throughout the silage to make sure that they do get contact and they drop that pH and they level out the forage there. The specific strains, know what strains you're putting in, know what strains are in the products you're using. You try it doesn't work, don't try it again, essentially. Make sure you know what you're putting in. If you don't know that, then you may make the mistake of using a different product that has the same bacteria strains. Physical features of the silage, of course, how it looks, smells, etc. And then how it feeds. And the big one is profitability, making sure that the cost of those inputs don't outweigh whatever gain you're getting if you have it analyzed to the dollar, or if it is on some of these other physical features, palatability, smell, things like that. So, all right, switching gears again, I'm going to talk about dry hay preservation for a little bit. I'm running short on time here, but I did want to hit this. This is sort of a new thing for King's. It's the product that we have is a coalback dry hay preservative. It's a liquid lactobacillus fermentation product. So it's a killed bacteria that's applied to the forage. Either got a question? Good.
Is that approved for
It's not. No, it's not. We were working with PCO on that, but it has a color and a smell that's artificial. So, but I'm getting more and more feedback that it needs to be. So I am working to try to get it that way, because it would be good to be able to do that. So working on that. So what this product does, it feeds the natural bacteria on the forage, and it decreases that pH and prevents mold and spoilage there. So how it does that is, application's a little different here. You can see this is a 9-foot disc bind, and that product's going on as we're laying it down. We're getting that immediate coverage. We're promoting the growth of those good bacteria, those natural bacteria that I talked about earlier. We're promoting their growth so that they can produce the acids necessary to stabilize the forage and prevent the heat and spoilage there. Rain protection, I had a question about this yesterday. If you apply this, and it does, there's a rain shower, I've seen, in my experience, I've seen that there's a difference in how the product turns out. Your hay maintains a good color. There's still some damage, of course, from the rain. So just a little protection in that way. And then here you're not at the mercy of a custom operator. You go ahead and apply it. You start preserving your forage. And then if they can't make it out when they were scheduled, they delay, then you still are preserving the integrity of your forage there. So here are the benefits: higher moisture baling. Of course, that's what we're looking for with these hay preservative products. Increasing the nutritional value, reducing mold growth and spoilage. Of course, that's what we're looking for with these. Making sure that it's economical and cost effective. My background is I did go to a school down south, and I was in the business school, so I come back to this a lot. Economics, cost effectiveness, return on investment. Let's make sure we know what we're doing, how these are benefiting us, anything we use, how it's benefiting us before we continue it. So some visual benefits there. You can see the difference. And then again, I'm going back to return on investment, and this is an Idaho field trial. You can see the number there, the difference. Same thing, same trial, just a second cutting. So what we just learned, forage preservatives have the potential to increase palatability, efficiency, production, profitability, but they should be used in conjunction with good management. That's the most important factor. Analyzing, those moisture levels, those how you're storing it, different factors like that can make a larger difference than using a product like this. And the bottom line is, as an innovative dairy and beef or crop producer, you got to continually think of the ways to make your operation more efficient, productive, and profitable. That's it. Question?
So when do you anticipate some of this stuff will be organically approved?
Now the AgMaster products, those inoculants, those are organic. We do have organic approval for those. Yes, those are OMRI listed. I'm sorry, I should have clarified that. The one that's not is the Colback dry hay preservative. And it in fact, yeah, it can be. It's just something we're in the process of working on.
Do you want PCO on that?
Yeah, well, we did try to get it through PCO. Now we'd have to go back to the manufacturer and have them make some adjustments, take out the color and the smell of it to make that pass through. So, any other questions?
Is it practical to put the AgMaster on when you mow the hay?
Is it practical to put the AgMaster on
Like
when you mow the hay? I don't have any experience at all with that, so I wouldn't know. I know there are some guys who are introducing an inoculant, a live bacterial inoculant to their hay. I don't know. I can't think of anybody who's doing it as they're mowing. I think of guys that are doing it when they're baling it up with the Silo King product and some of the others. Yeah, so I don't know on that.
Being at the mercy of a custom operator is a big deal. I had a cousin that lost a barn about 6 weeks ago, and they found out the last 2 bales he put in the barn were not treated. He ran out of stuff.
Yeah. That could be a big difference. I actually, as I was working with this product before I came to Kings, but as I was out in the field, I found that the farmers, that's the feedback I was getting. One of the biggest benefits is I put on my own treatment. I preserve my own hay, and then if they're delayed or if they come a little early, I've got a little protection there. So, any other comments or questions? There's literature on the back. One thing I was also sort of supposed to cover was our dairy manure treatment. It's also made by the makers of AgMaster. Pick up some literature on that. That's a really neat product. A lot of folks, David uses that, correct? And seen good results with that. But thank you.
And while Josh gets the microphone to Dr. Fry, I'll just again indicate that if you're not on your dealer's mailing list and you aren't getting publications, please do. We have this new catalog that's coming in print, and the rations, there was a discussion here earlier about percent protein in rations and stuff, but all the diets, example diets that are in the current edition have been revamped with the CPM and AMTS software by Victor Lutz, so you'll see quite different numbers over the years that's changed. So, Dr. Fry,